Hi everyone, it's David Wheeler at Wycombe Wanderers and you're listening to the Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Very warm welcome to the latest edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show. Weather's changed, hasn't it? Extra warm welcome. It's dropped a few degrees. If you listen to this sort of abroad maybe, or in the future. It was a bit chillier this week. Lots to bring you this week, as we'll hear from Phil in a few moments' time with our pre-match briefing, looking ahead to the visit of Stevenage. Haven't had a home game on a Saturday for a while. Looking forward to getting down to Adams Park and experiencing not just the game, but also Foundation Day as well. It's been dedicated to the Wycombe Wanderers Foundation. Coincidentally, also this week been a week of EFL action, so we'll catch up with Mark Gaitskell, who's the Chief Executive of the Wycombe Wanderers Foundation, and find out a bit more about what they've been doing this week and look ahead to what you can expect on Saturday. We'll hear from Phil in a few moments' time. I might have said that already. Also, this hour we'll catch up with former Wycombe Wanderers striker Kim Casey as we continue to celebrate 30 years of the club being in the Football League. Really great to share his memories in the build-up to the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association's annual dinner, which Kim's not going to, unfortunately, this year. But really nice to hear from him again. And we spoke to him, you might remember, in a previous season of the show as well. So really nice to get his thoughts and memories of 30 years in the Football League, especially during his 2 seasons there, one of which was the year that the club did the double. Very, very exciting. Lots to bring you as well, including the remainder of the show, including Wycombe Wanderers women goalkeeper Emily Strange, who, of course, made her first team debut, only 16 last season. Hasn't had as much game time this season, but filled in for Chelsea, who's a new signing this summer, on Sunday due to injury. And still to come this hour as well, we'll hear from manager Matt Bloomfield, who spoke to us at the media session at the club's training ground yesterday. Of course, looking ahead to that visit of Stevenage on Saturday and reflecting on some of the other fantastic work the club has done in the community, including, you might have seen online as well, that video which Phil did with Chairman Rob Kuig and Joe Jacobson, reflecting on their thoughts, especially Joe's as well, on how the Middle East is affecting him, and also using his platform as a player to really heighten that as well. So lots more to come in the next hour as well on this week's edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show. But we kick off, as always, at this time with a chat with Phil. And as we mentioned, quite a while since there's been a game at Adams Park on a Saturday.
6 weeks, Colin, exactly. 30th of September against Carlisle was the last Saturday home game at 3 p.m. And it seems like an incredible long time ago, not least because the weather has turned. And I remember it being quite a nice day back when we took Carlisle on at Adams Park. But yeah, looking forward to be back on a Saturday.
Obviously, there have been home games on a Tuesday, but you've certainly covered some miles as well in the intervening period.
Indeed, yes. There's been some long trips, not least the trip in the FA Cup as a bonus trip, shall we say. Although obviously we're always going to be in the first round, but you don't know where you're going to be. Could it be at home? Could it be away? It turned out it was away. It turned out it was a really long journey, but well worth it in the end. But yeah, we've covered some miles, but we do that across the football season, so not to be unexpected. But yeah, it's nice to be at home on a Saturday.
And home tie in the first round and the second round as well, which is what fans will be very pleased with.
Yes, Morecambe. How exciting. We thought we'd maybe get away with playing them this season, but no, the FA Cup has thrown it up. And it'll be great to see our old friend Derek Adams and duel with the Shrimps. And looking forward to that one immensely, especially as it's at home. Although, if any of the boys listening to this, just make sure you win. No one wants a replay on a Tuesday night in Morecambe.
And for people that perhaps heard or perhaps would have missed Ringing the Blues on Tuesday, great that you had Luke Leahy with you as well, and he's been nominated for a bit of a prestigious award as well, again showcasing how well he's done.
Yeah, he was a bit like Britain's Got Talent, wasn't it, having Luke in the studio? We all know what he can do on the pitch, and EFL have highlighted that with their nomination for League One Player of the Month. But also, it was great to hear him do his impressions of the squad. It's like having Roy Bremner with us. It was fantastic. Max Striett, Henning Vane, Dale Taylor, you name it, he can do it.
Just shouting, keeper or forward. It's so simple, isn't it? But it's so effective.
The best things in life are pretty simple, Colin. That's what I've been told anyway.
Absolutely. So the visit of Stevenage, it doesn't seem too long ago since we last faced them.
Yes, in the EFL trophy, or to give it its new name, the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, Snappy. Yeah, they'll obviously be out for revenge because Wimbledon won on Tuesday night in their group game, which means that Stevenage can't get out of the group. So they've been essentially knocked out of the Bristol Street Motors Trophy at the first hurdle. They'll be looking to avenge that, and they've had a really good start in the league, sixth as they go into this one, riding that wave of momentum from being promoted from League Two last season. And you have to admire the job that Steve Evans has done there. He's been brilliant, and this is going to be a tough game.
And we mentioned that Luke Leahy accompanied you on Tuesday. Someone else who's accompanied you on a number of occasions with the commentary will be coming up against again on Saturday, of course, and Nick Freeman.
Yes, yeah, Nick, he kind of had that awful injury at Wycombe Wanderers for a long period of time, and he utilised that spare time really well by joining us on the commentary, and we had a really good run of games together, which was great. And I've said before, he's kind of almost revolutionised that sort of co-com's role for players who aren't in the team for whatever reason. It used to be having to really persuade people to do it, and after Nick did it and it became a real hit with the fans, it's become a lot more acceptable for players to do it, and we've enjoyed having some really good players with us this season as well. And it's bittersweet, of course it is, because it means that if Jack Grimmer, Joe Jacobson, Sam Vokes, Jason McCarthy or Gareth McCleary, whoever, if they're up there with me, it means for some reason they're not on the pitch, be that suspension or injury. But, it's the next best thing for them. The players have all said that, being injured or not being able to take part in a game and having to watch it is really difficult. So the commentary gives them a bit of an outlet. And it's, dare I say, for some of them, it could be something they might be wanting to do later in life. And where better to learn than on the Bill Turnbull gantry on Wanderers TV and Wycombe Sound.
And also, of course, a very nice way to avoid perhaps doing things like moving house, or having, or just the option to have extra snacks that perhaps they wouldn't have normally.
Exactly that, and the snacks is a serious point. You have to go all the way upstairs, so let's not worry too much about the calorie intake, because you do have to get up those stairs up and down a few times on a match day. But yeah, we've had. Jack's been on quite a few times this season as he's been fighting his way back from his long-term injury, and we've enjoyed quite a lot of laughs with Jack, especially when his family join in and tweet into the show, which is always a benefit. But Jack will be with us on Saturday, and hope he takes us the right way. I very much hope it's the last time we see him up there this season. He's very close to return. He's earmarking a return back, I think, after the international window, which means that he's broken the news to me that this will probably be our last game together. And I really hope it is, because obviously Jack on the pitch is a big plus for the club.
No, absolutely. And it's really nice to have the sort of player's eye view as well, because you get to learn so much about, what it's like either in the dressing room or on the pitch, and things that the manager tells them as well with approaches to games. Yeah,
it's not an easy job. Commentary is as easy as we make it sound, or difficult, depending on your viewpoint. It's a difficult gig, and the co-commentator has to provide the colour almost. They call them the colour analysts in America. And, there's only so much information you can impart. The dressing room is sacrosanct. You don't want to get too much information, but equally you want to get enough so you feel that the audience is learning something and picking up stuff. And to be honest, the former players are really good at telling us why something has happened on the pitch. We all watch the same game. We all see it very differently. We all have different opinions. But to be able to hear from a player on their opinion on why something has happened, I think is invaluable, because, yes, I played football, but nowhere near a level where Wycombe Wanderers are playing at. So to get a professional to actually tell us, in their opinion, why something has happened, I think is fantastic.
And I think there's something really nice this weekend, isn't there? Is about resuming the league campaign after the brief break for the Cup. And we'll hear from the manager a bit later on in the show. But how do you feel sort of things are going at this stage of the season as well?
Yeah, I think the Cup win was vital for many reasons. The prize money is great. The kudos of being in the FA Cup and then being in the second round, Charlton Athletic, Derby County, etc. It's not for everybody getting through that first round against lower league opposition. They've got trickier fixtures now in replays and adding to it. So I think to get a win after we'd had a run of difficult games in the league in terms of the teams that we were playing, and got 3 points and perhaps deserved more, but it was what it was after that little run of games. So I think getting a win on the board, I think, was really important for momentum in all competitions. I think it was really important that we didn't concede a late goal, because Bradford City, when they halved the deficit, really threw everything at Wycombe Wanderers, and we had conceded a couple of late goals in that run. So I think to come through that unscathed, I think was a big psychological advantage. And hopefully we can take that benefit into the league campaign now, because I think we're overdue in the league, winning the league, and I think the performances have perhaps deserved more points. But now's the time to put that right on a Saturday in front of our own fans at Adams Park.
There should be a really interesting period coming up, shouldn't it? Because you mentioned Jack coming back. It's not supposed to rhyme, but other players as well. Hopefully, returning soon from injury.
Yeah, I'm going to try if I can rhyme any others. But Joe Jacobson is on for a return soon, hopefully, which will be big news. Chris Farino's there or thereabouts, and we've got
not much
a few more
Farino, does it?
Yeah, no, it's all systems go for Farino. Not quite yet for that, but we have to wait a bit longer, perhaps. But these players are working incredibly hard in the gym. Kane Vincent-Young. He's on his way back as well, and all making progress. And the work that those boys do in the gym, it's exhausting to see. We have to walk through the gym several times during a day when we're up there filming, etc. And it's exhausting just watching them doing what they do when they're injured. The work they put in, the tweaks they make to their diet and everything else, and in everything, literally everything in their life is geared towards returning as quickly as possible, and also maintaining that fitness afterwards. There's no point in rushing back and then not being ready and doing something more serious. So it's a lot of work.
And bittersweet, I guess, for fans and players alike, I guess, with the international break coming up. But, really good news that, the club has so many international call-ups.
Yes, yeah, and and it's worth pointing out as well. It takes two to tango in this scenario. It's not just Wycombe Wanderers calling these games off. Other teams also have international players, and they're entitled to call them off as well, if they get enough. And that's certainly been the case early on in this season, and I believe so again with the Wigan game. It's not just a Wycombe Wanderers decision, and I really understand the fans' frustration. I really, really do, and I think perhaps the EFL need to look at this moving forwards, because as football evolves and more internationals are dotted down the leagues, these postponements are going to be more and more frequent. And looking at the last international break, there were just 4 League One games, and there possibly is an argument for a restructuring of the season, perhaps. And making sure that international breaks like the Championship and Premier League are sort of factored in from the very, very start. So, when fans are forking out for a season ticket or making long-term plans or travel commitments, etc., they can do so in confidence that the game should be taking place.
I think something else that the fans have really liked this week was the video, again, that we'll get the manager's thoughts on a bit later on as well, but that the chairman and the captain did about the issue in the Middle East and also Killian's actions as well.
Yeah, it's not an easy interview to do, and credit to Joe and to Rob for wanting to stick their head above the parapet on this one, because I think there's a lot of people having their say on this around in the world on social media. The news cycle is incredibly exhausting. But I think Joe felt he really, really wanted to speak out and use his platform, which I think he did admirably. And I thought what he said was excellent. Same for Rob. And again, the backing of Joe, of Killian, and of all the players. And this is the big point here: is this is across all beliefs, all religions, etc. And Wycombe Wanderers is a great example of what a unified dressing room from all backgrounds, all beliefs, all different areas of being brought up, etc. If you can really unify those players, they can really go on and achieve something. And I've always said, and I think football should make more of it, and we mentioned this in the interview, football needs to fly this flag high, because I think the dressing rooms of not just Wycombe Wanderers, I think Wycombe is a great example of it, but they're great microcosms of society, of people getting over their differences, celebrating each other's differences, learning from each other, having empathy, taking discussions, taking it to the next level. But the main thing is they pull together as a team and they go on to achieve great things together. I think as a society, I think we should all look at that and think, how can we impact that on our own lives? And, it's a divisive world out there. It's very easy to kind of get hoodwinked and read whatever you want online. But, understanding and empathising the other side is probably the first point of any argument or any discussion or any thing that's going on. And I think football and Wycombe Wanderers have done that superbly.
No, absolutely. Definitely agree. And something the club does really well also is its role in the community. And Saturday dedicated to the Foundation Day. And also we've had the EFL's Week of Action. And you've seen close up how important what the club does in the community is.
Yeah, we learned through the pandemic just how important football clubs are to their community. In our instance, how important Wycombe Wanderers is to South Bucks and dare I say all of Bucks. So, yeah, I think the Foundation do fantastic work, not just in football. But they use the club and the brand of the club to reach far and wide. They push Wycombe Wanderers into new areas as well, which I think is really vital too. And yeah, it's great that we get to celebrate them this week, this EFL Week of Action. But I think it's worth pointing out that they're in action 52 weeks of the year, and this work is going on all the time. But it's great that we can highlight what's going on and hopefully sort of flag people to their existence and what they do. And if people need to take part in what's going on, or if they want to help or whatever, then that's even better. So yeah, it'd be really, really good to kind of give them a nod on Saturday and see what's going on. They've put some videos out this week highlighting their work, as we did last year as well. And again, credit to the players for their involvement in that.
Oh, real pleasure to have you on the show. As always, thank you so much, Andy, for your time.
Colin, always a pleasure.
Great chatting to Phil, as always. Listen to Ringing the Blues on a Tuesday or on a podcast, wherever you get your podcast from. Subscribe to Wanderers TV, that sort of thing. You'll get the idea. And listen to Phil's commentary if you're not going to the game on Saturday from Adams Park against Stevenage on Wanderers TV, or of course on Wycombe Sound on 106.6 FM. It all kicks off from 3, build up from midday in the car park with Rob and the team as well. As mentioned, it's been an EFL Week of Action this week. The Wycombe Wanderers Foundation, a brilliant opportunity for them to really highlight the work that they do. You might recall 12 months ago we were in the car park of the Millbrook School, and Sam Vokes on a skateboard. Mark Gaitskell was there that evening. He's the Chief Executive of Wycombe Wanderers Foundation, and he can tell us a bit more.
Where's that year gone? Sam Vokes on a skateboard and Gareth Ainsworth in the Bodger suit, two absolute highlights. So Week of Action. As we were chatting before we started talking here, every week's a week of action for us, but it's a campaign from the EFL where all professional clubs within the EFL and their CCOs, so that's club community organisations, really have to shout even louder for the week about the great work that they're doing in their local communities. And there's an increased number of sort of player visits to our programmes and projects and player engagement. So this week we've got a number of players out at a number of different projects that we have, sort of engaging with the groups that we work with, as well as our kind of brand new expanded media and comms team who are out capturing footage for what we're doing. So we're producing some great content and actually really, fortunately, to be honest, aligns with Foundation Day at the end of the week on Saturday against Stevenage, which at the point of the club coming to us with this idea of doing Foundation Day, which was really well received and is a great opportunity for us. We didn't know when Week of Action this season was going to be. So for it to fall on the week where we have Foundation Day is great. So we've got all sorts of things happening on Saturday at the game in terms of our participants coming along. We've got Guards of Honour. We're doing a halftime parade. We've got T-shirts that will be worn by the first team players and then signed by them, and then they'll be available on an auction which people can get involved with, which is raising funds for the foundation. So yeah, it's an even busier week than normal.
I know from speaking to you in the past, it's almost not actually possible to cover everything that the foundation does in just one chat even, but this is a great opportunity, isn't it, to really highlight what the foundation is and is about.
Yeah, look, exactly that, and you can't forget that the players also are still training and do still have fixtures themselves on Saturday. So as much as we'd love to have the first team squad all out with us at all of our different positions, we ran over, I think it's over 24 different projects. And like I said, that training does still have to come first. So we're selective with the player appearances that we put in for this week, and trying to showcase some of the things that maybe don't get as often or exposed or are harder to kind of get footage and show our sort of community what we're out and about and what we're doing. So this week we've had Sam Vokes, who's one of our newly appointed foundation ambassadors, out at one of our schools. We've got Joe Lowe and Taylor Clark coming along to our Girls Development Academy tonight, and then Jason McCarthy is going to prison on Friday, which is interesting. He'll be coming out afterwards. Don't worry about that. So we run a project called the Twinning Project, and that's in Aylesbury Prison, delivering a level 1 coaching course to a selected group of participants in there to try to upskill and help their within a year of they're inside a year of release and obviously having gone through sort of lower level crimes in their backgrounds, trying to help them reintegrate and upskill, ready to come back into society and offer something. So Jason's kindly coming along to visit that provision on Friday, which is a programme I've been to visit. It's a really great project, really well received. The candidates love it. The members of my team who deliver it love delivering that project. So it's nice to be able to take a player in there to see not an unusual project, but one that, again, that's maybe not so readily accessible.
And it must mean so much to both you as the foundation and anyone participating in these groups, and probably the players themselves as well, to have first-team players involved and really supporting these events. Yeah,
look, football is such an engagement tool, such a vehicle to generate interest and pull people into the programmes and projects we do, but it's just one vehicle. So we do so many different things that aren't football, but obviously the power of the badge, power of the players, it sort of adds a sort of va-va-voom to the programmes that we're delivering. So having their presence and their engagement, and like I say, we've just appointed a group of foundation ambassadors, and lots of the players put their hands up to do that. We had to sort of refine it down to a group of 8, which is a large number. So they're increasing their involvement with what we do. And Week of Action is a nice week to kick that off.
And it really feels there are some of the initiatives feel really simple, like there's the wellbeing walk on the right. I saw one of the videos that you mentioned as well, but that's such an effective way to help in the community.
Yeah, look, the 3 departments we have are really varied. So, sports participation, lots of delivery of lots of sports opportunities particularly for young people, education and employability work in schools. Like I said, that's where the prison project sits. So you're going from schools to prisons to wellbeing walks, etc. Then you've got health and inclusion. Again, work with a real wide range of participants in lots of different settings. So we couldn't possibly get it all covered during Week of Action, but the club have been really kind to offer us that foundation day where we will be exposing everything. So that day is very focused on raising awareness amongst the fan base around all of the different programs and projects we deliver, giving the participants from those projects an opportunity to be celebrated and applauded as well. So there'll be a number of different participants walking around the pitch at half time, and to thank also kind of our dedicated team of staff who go above and beyond and work really, really hard to deliver these programs, because there's lots of work that goes on outside of just the delivery, sort of measuring impact and putting in proposals and reports around the impact and putting in for funding. Securing funding for these programs isn't easy. It takes a lot of work. So it's a nice opportunity to thank our team of staff, and then our trustees who govern the charity and have to meet quite regularly, and our volunteers. They give up their time. So it's nice to have everyone all in one place and it be the theme of the match on Saturday.
And really nice as well, because there'll be a crowd of a few thousand there who might think they know someone who can benefit from the programs that you run.
Yeah, look, like I said, the key focus for the day is that awareness raising, and actually if there's one fan that comes on Saturday that didn't really know about the foundation and is in need of some help or some support, they'll be shown ways where they can get in touch with us and get involved. So it's a great opportunity to just spread that awareness and potentially help more people.
So where can we find out more about what the foundation is all about? Yeah,
so follow the foundation on our social media platforms. So that's at WWFCFDN, and our website is wycombewanderersfoundation.co.uk.
Well, I hope it's a really successful remainder of the weekend of action, and also all the best for the day on Saturday as well.
Thanks a lot, Colin. Always a pleasure.
Look out for more from Mark and his team at Adams Park on Saturday.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
You're listening to part 2 of what we call the Wycombe Wanderers show. We call it part 2 because I'm sure you can understand. Still to come on the remainder of the programme, we'll hear from manager Matt Bloomfield. We'll catch up with Emily Strange, one of Wycombe Wanderers' women's goalkeepers as well. But first, thanks to the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, who have their annual dinner later this month, the 24th of Friday, to be precise. Get your tickets from the Facebook page, perhaps, or website, or other places. Also, not only are we commemorating the coming together of many a player from different eras, but as the season progresses, we're marking 30 years of the club being in the Football League. Someone who spent 2 years at the club was a fantastic striker by the name of Kim Casey. You may well have seen him in action as well, and brilliant to catch up with him, despite it being 30 years ago since he was part of that double winning side.
Only a short while ago this year, I also went to a Leamington FC one, which was celebrating 40 years. So I don't feel so bad on this one.
Because that makes you feel younger, perhaps. Because I know, obviously, when you came to Wycombe, it was a bit sort of later in your career, so perhaps that makes it feel a little fresher, if that's the right word. It
does. It certainly does. Yeah.
It must be so nice for you, and all those players that you played with as well, just to be able to reflect on how special that time was.
Well, I only had 2 years at Wycombe, and it was a fabulous time. A real family club that embraced me as an individual and a player. The fans were terrific. The club and the officials were first class. And 2 years that I really, really enjoyed. Yes, I had a dislocated shoulder against the Albion in the FA Cup. And yes, that took a sign-off for about 8 weeks. But the 2 years were full of memories, full of great people, and a time that I'll never forget.
So we've just had, obviously, the first round victory over Bradford, and we've got Morecambe in the second round. Do things like that really kind of prick your memory, especially as there's great cup games that you were involved with?
Absolutely, they do. Fortunately, I've played for a fair few clubs over my career, but there's only a couple that I really look for mainly, and that's Wycombe and Kidderminster, where I had most of my success really. But they were clubs that really, embraced the players and made you feel extremely welcome.
I know last time we spoke to you as well, you were so grateful for the fan support, and you told a great story about how a woman showed you a photograph, whilst you were injured, and that just shows what it means so much to people just to kind of watch you play.
Well, I can now realise how old he was, because Oliver was 1 then, and a tiny cut in my arm, because he's 31 now. So we've got, fortunately, 2 grandchildren, a granddaughter, Lydia. I'm totally biased, but absolutely gorgeous. And Ronnie, a possible footballer or rugby player, because he's absolutely massive. And he's about 18 months old. So, yeah, great memory, special time. But that, as I said before, that lady or the woman didn't have to give that photograph to me, but it was just endearing and really well received.
See, perhaps when you put it like that, it does feel like quite a long time ago now.
Absolutely. Yeah, because my daughter's 29, and she's a tennis coach in Dubai. Lived there for about 5 or 6 years now. I think she stays over there to avoid myself and the wife. But she's loving her job, but it does seem a very long time ago.
And I know you do a lot of work with youngsters as well, just kind of helping them with their sort of future choices as well. And that must be great as well for you to be able to kind of give back, if you like.
Exactly, Colin. I was mentioning to John Taylor there. I work at Solihull College, an academy centre which basically does do football. And I did Solihull Moors with them for about 3 years ago. I happened to win the league a couple of times, so we were very lucky. But we worked hard at it. But during the day, I do the employability skills. So in other words, helping students from 16 to 18 get into work and get apprenticeship. And that's just from my business background, as well as my growth mindset or attitude background from a sports point of view as well. So those are the skills that I'm trying to pass on to them. And fortunately, got a lot of good feedback. So really enjoying the job, although it's just part-time. I really do enjoy it.
It's great, isn't it, that you can pass on so many skills that you got from your football playing time, and even as a football coach as well, and into a more sort of academic and business world too. Yeah,
I mean, communication, teamwork, collaboration, resilience. You put all of that in a business that sent a football team then, and you just pass it back on. What you've learned, all the sayings that you've learned. I mean, one silly daft one, but it's true. is I learned at work about the word attitude, or growth mindset, but attitude. So in the alphabet, if you've got the letter A equals 1, and you've got the letter E equals 5, then what do the letters in the word attitude add up to? You've got 60 seconds to find out. And you do that in a classroom, and then the answer is exactly 100. And if you relate that to business acumen or sport acumen, it makes sure you put 100% in. And some guy in America made a lot of money out of that. But, from my point of view, all the little tips that you can pass to people really, really help.
I think it's the first chat I've ever had with a Wycombe Wanderers ex-player, which has been quite educational as well.
It's not saying much for the quality of the intelligence in a dressing room if you complimented me, but I'll take the compliment. Thank you.
No, I've learned nothing from anyone else I've spoken to, just this chat. But that's something which really stands out, and I know, as I say, when we spoke to you before as well, but just the kind of the character of the teammates that you had at Wycombe.
Yeah, outstanding. Heidi was one of my best pals. He's an incredible goalkeeper, probably the best I've seen in my career. And that's saying something, to be honest. But he was an outstanding guy as well. Just a super sensitive, which attracted me straight away. But the only one time that I actually went out with a guy, because I probably haven't told you this, but my nickname was Pilot Light, because I never went out. I was a family man, basically. But eventually they got me to go out with them, and Heidi was my minder, if you like. So, because he's a big guy, always choose the big guys to look after me on a night out. So, yeah, but increased, and the incredible squad of players that you had. I look back now and having two wingers like Guppy and David Carroll, together with Scotty up top, you couldn't fail at school, really. Their dribbling skills, his strength in the middle. My job was relatively easy, although Martin made it crystal clear to me what my role was in the thing.
And you say that you're only there for 2 years, but it feels like you sort of crammed quite a lot in and obviously scored plenty of goals during that time as well.
Yeah, I look back on my record at Wycombe. I was quite disappointed, really, 20 and 50. That was a little disappointing from my own point of view, although I felt I contributed in a small part to the double. But some of the memories with the boys when you go to the golf day and when you go to the dinner, put it all into perspective, really. Some of the memories that we've had in the dressing room, just when Martin walked in and his presence, and his ability to communicate so clearly with people. He made it easier the first day I actually arrived at Wycombe, because instead of doing certain things, he just walked straight out onto the beach, stood on the halfway line, and said, "Look, Case, if we're kicking that way, turn round. I do not want you to be in my heart." And then he walked me straight to the edge of the box, and he said, "If they've got the ball with their players inside the box," he said, "I don't want you to pressure." He said, "So I'm shortening the pitch for you." He said, "But in between those two lines, I want you to work the hardest of anybody." And shortening the pitch for me, because I'm not a long-distance runner, I'm a short, acceleration or short distance runner, if you like. Work smart, don't work hard. He's basically, I just have to, when we do have the ball, I have the energy in the box. And he made it crystal clear. And for me, that was quite easy.
It must be great as well to be someone who's contributed, because obviously as a striker, people remember goals, I think, don't they? I was chatting to someone recently who said, they were a particular game and Kim Casey got the goal, and they remember being there and just close to scoring, I think. And it must be nice to kind of play that part and that be in people's memories like that. Yeah, I think. Well, there's a couple of things about strikers. One is they usually got the best striker, the best contract, other than the captain or the centre half, mate. So that was fortunate. But being able to score, I would dislike now the VAR, because you wouldn't know whether you could celebrate or not. In our day, there wasn't, and it was the best time in the world when the ball hit the back of the net. It's really nice, isn't it? And obviously that feeling, and that clearly sort of stays with you as well.
It does, yeah. Well, I'm still playing on a Thursday night. I play 8v8 on an AstroTurf. Yes, I'm a goalkeeper, but there's no linesman on this pitch. So we play socially. We have a drink afterwards. We've got a great group of lads. Unfortunately, most of the older guys, like me now, are retiring and injured or whatever. So we've got a lot of young lads and legs on the pitch, which makes it really hard and really tough. But what they hate is me standing behind them. In other words, they want to see everything in front of them. But I'm not literally on the goal line. I do work hard a little bit. So, but genuinely score and still enjoy the same excitement as I did all them years ago.
And I understand another area which you still excel in as well is golf. You have a bit of a record for the golf trophy holding as well.
Well, very coincidentally, the first time I played with Chris, and I played with Cooper Ryan, and we had a great game, and I was so relaxed and just really enjoyed the humour and the jokes and the insult and all of the dressing room humour that I actually played that well. It was untrue, and I don't normally play that well. Admittedly, I'm not too much of a regular golfer, so my handicap was like higher. But I actually won the day, which was outstanding for me and a great laugh. But then COVID hit, so I think my name's on it either 2 or 3 years, I'm not sure. But it was just hilarious. And when I told my son, he said, that does not surprise me. He said, you're the luckiest person in the world.
Really nice the camaraderie that you can have, and that you're still in touch with former teammates today, and obviously we've got the ex-players dinner coming up, which unfortunately you're unable to attend this year.
That's right, yeah. Fortunately, I managed to keep in touch with a few clubs. So there is a Kidderminster, there is a Leamington, Wycombe I've been in touch with for the longest. And I really enjoy coming to the dinners, and I really enjoy playing the golf when I can. It's getting the opportunity, obviously, because, I understand from John Taylor, for example, and the Kerrs in Vancouver, and, Steve Gups in Nashville. So people are doing their own things and doing various stuff, which is fantastic for them, because now I can look out for Nashville, because I didn't realise that Gups was one of the coaches there, Rich Smudger. So that's good to know. So I always look out for how people are doing and listen to Mark O'Neill occasionally on the radio as well, with the group that he uses. All's well that ends well, really. But my struggle in realising or naming a list in a team, I could list most of them, but I couldn't remember the left back, because I think that was a vulnerable position for us. We had so many different left backs.
Sure.
So Matty Crossley played everywhere because he was that good. And we had 2 or 3 players who could play in various positions as any good manager would have. And Matty is the one that I can usually remember there, you see. So apologies to anybody who's left back and I can't remember you. So
I'm sure they'll forgive you. And just finally, what would be your message to any ex-players who's going along to the dinner later this month, or who might be listening, and or fans indeed who have fond memories of seeing you in action?
Well, firstly, the fans. Fans are the most important. Without them, you're nothing. Just thank you. Sincere gratitude for having a great time over the 2 years, and for any players who are making the evening have a great night. The last time I've been, or the times that I've been, I've really enjoyed it, whether it was our decade or not. But when it is your decade and your team, which I understand with Dinnery, they really do go over the top and make sure that you're really well appreciated and welcomed on the night. And it's a fabulous night. So enjoy.
Well, it's been a real pleasure to catch up with you again. Really pleased that you're well and doing well, and fantastic to share your memories.
Thank you, Colin. Really appreciate it.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Final part of this week's Wycombe Wanderers show still to come. We'll hear from manager Matt Bloomfield on, the latest, really. Just the that's what he'll be doing, chatting to us as well. But first, we continue our focus on Wycombe Wanderers. Women had a fantastic 3-2 victory on Sunday. Coming on in goal for the injured Chelsea, who we've had on the show before as well, was Emily Strange, who made her first team breakthrough season last season at just the age of 16.
I came in at quite like a awkward time of the season. I think obviously the first team goalkeeper just left, and I only just come up from under 16, so yeah, it was quite intimidating to start with, but the girls were really supportive, and yeah, it was just really nice to get some time with the first team. And yeah, it was like quite a big thing for me. Obviously, just coming from under 16, I played a bit with the reserves and then stepped up to the first team, and then was there since now.
So how did you find the step up?
It took me a bit by surprise, obviously, playing on a Saturday. And all of a sudden, going into women's football, I don't think I really estimated what it'd be like, to be honest. But yeah, I definitely developed a lot because of it. It's so much more quicker than what I thought it was going to be. But yeah, it's where I want to be. So yeah.
Well, did it sort of surprise you in a way as to how well it kind of went for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think going into the first team at 16 I was very nervous. I have to be honest. I was very, very nervous. Especially as a goalkeeper, it's quite a big position for I guess I wasn't very experienced, and at 16, I do put a lot of pressure on myself. And then, yeah, I just think the team really helped though with my nerves.
It's a lot of responsibility, isn't it? Have you always been a goalkeeper? Have you always wanted to be a goalkeeper?
I feel like every goalkeeper is the same. We always start outfield. So when I first started my local team, I used to be a striker, which just, sounds a bit weird to me now. And then I got chucked in goal one time and I just loved it. And then that's where I've been ever since, really. It's one of those positions where no one wants to play it. They're like, no, someone else can go in goal. But I just really enjoyed it. And I don't know if it was just like jumping around, diving in the mud. But yeah, I just loved it. And then, yeah, here I am now.
I guess arguably it's one of the most sort of fun positions, isn't it?
I guess it's kind of like you're the last person. It's obviously a lot of pressure, but no, I love it. I don't know what it is about it that I just love, but I don't know. It's just so it's obviously so different to the other positions on the pitch that I don't know. It just really stuck to me.
And are there any particular occasions that especially stand out from your debut season in the first team? Are there any particular saves that you made, or occasions that are especially special?
Playing at Adams Park was definitely a big thing for me. It was my first actual in-season for the first team. That was my first game, so I was very nervous because it was obviously a big occasion, but we won. And yeah, I was very happy with my performance because coming in for such a big game, I was obviously very nervous, but I managed to kind of calm my nerves a bit. And I'd say another game would be probably the Maidenhead game for the Sponsors Cup when we won 1-0. We were definitely the underdogs, but we just played like we always play. And yeah, we got the result, and I kept a clean sheet in that game, and that was just a really good game for me, personally.
No, you've done so well. And what's it been like working with Colin and the other coaches?
Oh, really good. It's such a big step up, especially having my own goalkeeping coach. Last season there was only me and then the goalkeeping coach because I was the only actual goalkeeper. And then we had Dino and Ellie Trigg that were players, outfield players, came into goal. But this season there's now 4 of us goalkeepers, and then we've got 2 goalkeeping coaches. And yeah, no, they're really supportive. My personal development has really come on, and I think there's such a massive change in who I was last season to where I am now. And also having the other goalkeepers with me, I think is really important because as a goalkeeper, you need to understand how other people would think of it. Getting other people's, say Chelsea, if I did something that I wasn't sure about, I can go to Chelsea and be like, how would you do this? So that I can see a different perspective kind of thing. So it's really good.
Yeah, it was great chatting to her recently on the show as well. Obviously her great experience is something that you can learn a lot from and take stuff from too.
Yeah, definitely. She's got a lot of experience, and she's always there to like give me a little bit of advice here and there. And I think it's really helpful, and also for like the other goalkeepers too, because there's Neve and Abby. We're all about the same age. Abby's a bit younger, and I feel like having the help from a more experienced player just helps with your development as well.
And what was it like coming on Sunday to replace Chelsea? Because unfortunately she got injured, but it's a great opportunity for yourself, and also I guess it must be strange because you're not really knowing when you're needed.
Yeah, definitely. It was one of those games where you're like, oh, I'm coming on. So it was quite like, I think it was quite soon into the game. So luckily I had warmed up because I was aware that Chelsea wasn't quite fit. So yeah, I mean, I got the call up and I was like getting ready, and yeah, I think I played really well. The girls were really supportive in the game as well, like giving me praise and stuff just to make sure that I was confident. And yeah, I think I played really well in that game. So it was nice to come on and get some minutes, definitely. So yeah.
And really nice for you that you had that grounding, if that's the right word, from last season, because the players will be familiar with you more, and you'll be more familiar with how it all works.
Yeah, definitely. I think it almost just clicked again, playing with everyone again. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it because obviously I get on really well with everyone and I just know how they play. So it's kind of like I just knew what was needed, when, kind of thing. Yeah, it was really good.
And do you enjoy the training side of it as well?
I love training. It's just like, it's kind of like an escape to like the real world, I guess. And yeah, no, just everyone's just such a good atmosphere at training.
No, absolutely. And do you really feel there's a great atmosphere throughout the whole squad at the moment? Because the season seems to be going really well, both in the league and the cup as well.
Definitely. It's just been such a good vibe. Especially, well, from the start of the season, there was obviously quite a few new players introduced to the team and the club, and I guess we weren't sure how long it would take us all to click, but it was literally instant. Everyone just got on. We obviously had that first game against Ascot, which didn't go our way, but from that game we all grew as players and as a team, and we started to get the results, and the squad is just really like strong. We're very like cohesive, and I think that is a key factor to our results. We're very, how do I say it? We've got very good
sort of resilience, would you say?
Yeah, that's the word. Especially like on Sunday, we were 1-0 down, and then to come back and win the game 3-2, we were very resilient in that game, and we got the result in the end.
Great chatting to Emily Strange, and looking forward to more Wycombe Wanderers women on next week's show. Finally, Matt Bloomfield, Wycombe Wanderers manager, catching up with how they're looking forward to returning to league action after last Saturday's FA Cup win, and of course the draw on Sunday at home to Morecambe.
Yeah, absolutely. Pleased with the home draw. First and foremost, that is what we wanted. We've got a lot of travelling coming up, so it was nice to have the home draw. So yeah, Morecambe, we know, have given us some real tough games over the years. They're going really, really well in League Two. They've got some good players. Derek Adams is doing a really, really good job. So we know it's going to be a tough test, tough tie. But at the same time, we're really pleased to be at home, and we're looking forward to the game. And much you could have taken out of Saturday's display into the resumption of the league campaign as well. Yeah, do you know what? I was really pleased with the resilience we showed late on. Any cup tie, I think we saw several games. I watched a few on the telly myself in terms of on Sunday. I watched a little bit of Chesterfield, Portsmouth and Crewe Derby. League One teams going away from home. It's not easy in the first round to pick up a result. So we're really, really pleased in terms of the resilience we showed late on. We played pretty well first half in terms of the way we got down the sides and carried our forward threat. And we showed the resilience second half to see the game out. Coming off the fifth game in 2 weeks as well, there was a few of the boys that were out on their feet by the end, and a few that had not maybe played so much recently who it was a great exercise for them to get themselves up and running as well. So yeah, really good, really pleased all round, and but also at the same time loads for us to work on. And does it feel like, in a way, that the cup games like that are a bit of interruption into the league progress? Because obviously you had two draws previously to that, and I guess you'd have felt something was building. Or I guess just because the way you prepare for games, does it feel like it's all kind of part of it, really? Yeah, I think that in terms of the preparation, it was exactly the same as what we do for a league game. But essentially, any FA Cup tie feels slightly different. There's a definite special feeling in the air. There's definitely something that's different about the day because We're going to a ground that, in League One we hadn't planned to do this year. So there's the last minute organisation and the excitement that comes with the FA Cup day and looking at the results up and down the country. So it feels different, and we prepare for it exactly the same, but also at the same time, coming off the back of the busy spell we had, we knew that we'd have to rotate slightly and make sure it gives an opportunity for other players to impress. So yeah, I was really pleased with the way we approached the game. We gave Bradford the utmost respect because we know that they've got a real good squad of players there and some really experienced boys as well who have played a lot of games. So we knew it was going to be a tough afternoon, and so it proved. But ultimately, really, really pleased to come out with a result and to get through to the second round.
It must be great for yourself and the players to be preparing for a home game on a Saturday. You have to go back through the fixture list some distance to find the last time there was a home game on a Saturday.
Yeah, it does feel a bit different, but we're looking forward to it. We know that, again, playing against a team in form, what an incredible job Steve has done at Stevenage. Got a good group of players that they've had for 2 or 3 seasons, and they've added some real quality in the summer. Nick Freeman's gone there to add to the quality that they already had, and we know that they carry a real big threat in forward areas. So we're going to have to be on our game. We're going to have to make sure we stand up to the test and we make sure we present ourselves in the right way, both in possession and out of possession. But yeah, it's nice to look forward to a home game on a Saturday, and we do so with a spring in our step.
And you're coming up against a team, of course, who are in, as you say, similar sort of form as well, to only a couple of points above, of course, and similar kind of aspirations, I guess, and a similar start to the season as well. Yeah,
definitely. With the momentum that Stevenage had coming off the back of a promotion season, that I think that they've carried that momentum really well. Like I say, they've got the continuity of the squad that they've had for a few seasons. Plus, they've added some real quality over the summer, real good recruitment they did over the summer. So we know that they've got a squad of good players, organised really well in terms of the way they set up and the way that they're all on the same page with performance levels. So a similar start to ourselves. They're ahead of us in the table, and someone who we want to catch.
And the game's been dedicated to the foundation this week, an EFL Week of Action as well. Again, a great sense of pride for the whole club, really, to show how important it is in the community.
Yeah, it's huge, isn't it? The way we conduct ourselves as a football club, what we stand for, and who we are as people, and how we are as people. We know that's really, really important to us. It's imperative that we conduct ourselves in the manner that we are proud of, and this is all part of it. We're a big part of the local community, and the local community is a big part of our football club. So the two go hand in hand, and we have to be really pleased that we're taking part in this day.
And fans will have seen the captain and the chairman speaking about the issues in the Middle East and how that affects, obviously Joe being Jewish as well. But I think it's really nice, isn't it, that's a great advert as well for what the club does in terms of how it looks after its players and fans and anyone who's associated with the club as well.
Yeah, the players are people first and foremost, and it's really important. We believe as a football club, as a company, as a football family, that we look after our own. We have to protect our own, no matter what happens on the pitch or off the pitch. First and foremost, we have to protect our own, like you would with any family. So it's really powerful. Rob's really passionate about looking after his players and looking after our players and making sure we conduct ourselves properly as a football club and stand for the things that we stand for. So. I think it's been really powerful that the club captain and the owner sat together and conducted the interview and presented themselves the way they did. So I'm really proud to be a part of what we do here. I'm really proud of what we do stand for and who we are as people. That's the most important thing for us. And we believe that if we do that properly, then it's the first step on to having a successful football team. But the core foundations is who we are and who we are as people and how we conduct ourselves and what we stand for. So that will not change. It's been like that for a while now, and whilst I'm here, we will have a real firm belief in that and focus on it.
And just finally, what's your overall feelings on the way the team is currently and where they are sort of in the table or the progress that you're making?
I think it's been pleasing, and it's kind of also been a flame for more hunger in terms of where we want to get to. We're nowhere near where we believe we can get to, but we've also got to be pleasantly content with the amount of progress, the amount of change there's been over the summer. We've spoken about it several times, the amount of new signings, the new management staff coming in at the end of last season, all the new signings over the summer, the other bits and pieces we've had to deal with in terms of injury and illness. There's been a lot thrown at this group, and I've been really proud of their character and the way that they've conducted themselves and the way that they've been so keen for information, so keen for knowledge, and so keen to do well for each other in this football club. So, I think it's making sure we get that balance right. We have to be pleased with how we've conducted ourselves so far and the performances we've given. But for me, it's just more desire to go and improve, because we have a massive belief in who these who these boys can be and what they can be. And it's up to us to keep putting the performances out there. Starting on Saturday, we have to make sure that we have that hunger and desire to do so.
Don't forget, if you're not going to the game at Adams Park, you can hear it live on Wanderers TV and here on Wycombe Sound on 106.6. Luke joins us for a stoppage time notice board.
Nice of you to turn up this week, Colin. Yeah, excited to announce the Prostate Cancer UK have announced this evening that during Jeff Stelling's March for Men, they raised a whopping £394,396. Well done to everyone that took part and helped raise money for Prostate Cancer UK.
A fantastic achievement. And like you say, it sounds like the end of Children in Need, doesn't it?
It does a bit, doesn't it? Yeah, well done, everyone.